Welcome to Cosplayland. I am Alice and today I'm going to help you choose the best mannequin for cosplay. For those of you who are new to the channel, you may want to know I have been cosplaying for almost 15 years now and I do cosplays every month, so I definitely need something to help me out whenever I'm making these builds and constructing new cosplays. And through the years I've had the chance to try many different types of mannequin, and I thought it would be a good idea to just let you know what I think about the different types of mannequins that you can get in the shops and just help you out deciding which one is going to be the best for your journey. There are many different types of mannequins and dress forms, and they are made with different materials and they are more durable, less durable, easier to pin. There's definitely a lot of pros and cons for each type of mannequin, and I'm gonna just try to summarize the most popular choices so you can make your own choice for your particular situation. I will be showing you every mannequin I own and just give you an idea of what uses I give to this mannequin, if I use it anymore, if I don't use it anymore, and why you should consider buying it or not. So let's start with the first mannequin I ever owned. And actually I don't own the first mannequin I ever owned anymore because my first mannequin was made out of duct tape. Yeah, everybody, if you're a cosplayer, everybody is in love with duct tape. Like you can make everything with duct tape. And as many of you probably, I saw one of these tutorials in which you just go ahead, tape the duct tape to your body and just cut it, fill it with some polyfill or something like that, and then you make a mannequin which is supposed to be very cheap and it has the exact shape of your body. However, I must say this was possibly the mannequin I've liked the least in all my life, because I think I used it twice before I had to put it in the bin. So you will be saying this mannequin is great because it's actually free and it's very cheap, but if you think about it, it's not free. You're gonna need at least 2 to 3 rolls of tape, which will cost you between £1 to £3 each roll, plus all the polyfill that you have to put inside, which again it's £3 or £4 per bag, and you will need 2 to 3 bags, so you are gonna be spending between £15 to £20 maybe on this mannequin, which is totally fine and it's totally very affordable. However, it has a very big issue. Right now I live in the UK and the weather is quite cold during the day and night, and all the time it's cold and rainy. But I used to live in Spain in a very hot place. And what happened to my mannequin was it dissolved, literally all that tape with time. And with time is within 2 weeks to 4 weeks, it was still starting to peel off, and it was honestly horrendous to work with it. Of course, you have the advantage of just it being exactly your shape, and because it was made of tape and a polyfill, you could pin it completely. However, it wasn't durable at all. It was really ugly, and also the problem that tape could potentially stain your cosplays, and it was really a pain. I didn't have a handle either, so I know you can actually use some pipes to put underneath, and you will see one of my mannequins does have pipes on it because I didn't have a stand for it. That is a possibility, but you will be needing to cut those to the right size, and basically it's very difficult to handle. So yeah, my first ever mannequin, which was the one made with tape, was a disaster. I only recommend you if it's the only thing you can do or the only thing you can afford, but as I said, it will not last long before you decide to get something else. So let's move on to a real mannequin, okay? The second mannequin I'm going to recommend you is one made with Styrofoam, which is this material which you get inside of boxes, and it's usually white and it crumbles a lot. There is a lot of mannequins that you can find, for example, on Amazon for a reasonable price. I've seen them for about £40, and honestly I think they are quite affordable and they are quite decent. However, I don't own one to show you, but I do have a styrofoam head to show you what happens with a styrofoam mannequin. Now, the best thing about the styrofoam is that it is very lightweight, so you can move it around, and also you can just pin it all the way through, even if it makes that squeaky, horrible sound. But you can pin your styrofoam mannequin, which is very handy. And nowadays you can get them with a shape which is very similar to a human shape, but when I was trying to buy one of these, because I was considering buying one of these not long ago, the problem I found is that even if they had similar proportions to the human body, I didn't seem to find one which was my actual body shape and my actual measurements. So I think they are supposed to be more for display or for decorations, and although you can always pat them and just make them look more like your body, they are still slightly limited. It's still one of the better solutions in my opinion, and if you are short of money or you are just starting, I recommend you to get that one. And if you have a little bit of money and you can afford it, cosplay is something that you do all the time, this is definitely a great start. So I recommend you to get something like this, which is not too expensive, but you can pin it, you can drape on it, and you can do quite a few things that you can't do with some of the mannequins I'm going to be showing you in this video. Same as what happened with my first mannequin, the styrofoam mannequin is not perfect because with time it will become a little bit crumbly and it won't be perfect. I have an example here. This is a head I've had for about 5 or 6 years, and you can see all the little dents and how every time I pin it, it kind of leaves holes on it. It becomes very dirty. The mannequins usually come with a cover, with a fabric cover, and you will not see it, but however you will be able to notice this will still be happening on the inside, and you will notice all those holes. And yeah, it is also not resistant to heat, so if you are trying to do something like an armour or something similar, just remember that the moment you apply any heat to your styrofoam, it will melt and it will just distort your mannequin, which is not ideal. Same will happen if you use it for a long time. You will get all these dents, so maybe your mannequin won't be completely smooth when you are using it for a few years. Nevertheless, I still recommend this mannequin if what you want to do is a little bit of draping and you can't afford something more expensive like the ones I will be showing you next. The next mannequin I want to show you is the one I've been using for most of my videos, which is this one. And this one is not a mannequin to make dresses. This is just a simple half mannequin, display mannequin from a shop. I actually got this mannequin for only £20 when I was in Spain, and I just had a friend that knew a friend that was closing down a shop of clothing, and they had this mannequin around, and I was able to just get it for about £20 because they were just getting rid of it. If you were to get one of these new, you can get it from about £20 to £100. £100 new, but you can go to places like Wallapop or the Facebook Marketplace, and I'm pretty sure you will be able to find one of these foams somewhere very, very cheap, because there are so many of them. They are readily available and it's very easy to buy something second-hand that will work for your purposes. Now, the real problem about this mannequin is that it is made of plastic. The inside of this mannequin is made of plastic, and although I can definitely use pins on it because the layer on top is made of a softer material, I only can pin like that, so I won't be able to pin through. So if you are doing anything like draping or dressy dresses or something like that, you are really gonna struggle with this mannequin, and it's just gonna be basically something where you can just put the clothes on top and just work on them and see if they are more or less fitting or not. The other problem with this mannequin is that because this is a mannequin for a shop, the proportion may not be exactly like a real body, because I don't know if you noticed, but the proportions of mannequins on shops are not accurately anatomically correct, and they are just made so they look nice. This one in particular has really pointy boobies, which makes it a little bit awkward to just drape anything on top, because I will not be, you know, wearing any Madonna cosplays anytime soon, unfortunately. Sorry to disappoint you. But yeah, as I said, it's handy and it was very cheap, and it really worked for me all these years because I was aware of its limitations, and the cosplays I usually make, I just use mats to do the pattern, and I only needed a dress form to just put it on top and make sure that it looks good, and basically to take photos to make sure I can just give you guys some kind of progress on my cosplays. But in the sense of pattern making and just making cosplays, draping, anything like that, this is not the best solution. However, the one good thing about this is that if you are doing armor, this one, because it's made of plastic, is more resistant to heat. So I've been able in the past to just make some pieces and just mold it to it without any issues, which was a pro of this kind of mannequin. Still not the best one for cosplay. And also, if you notice this part over here, when you buy a mannequin, even if it's one for making clothes, there is different shapes you can have over here, because this is mostly for skirts. This is gonna be completely flat, but if you are doing anything like a bodysuit or anything with legs or trousers, this kind of fit, it just doesn't work, and you're just gonna have a very big struggle trying to figure out if that is gonna fit you or not. So that is something to take into account as well. Overall, this is a relatively cheap, good mannequin for just playing around and just putting your dresses around to help you out while you are making cosplay, but it is definitely not the best solution if you do this daily and you do this professionally. After showing you this one, let's move to the next cosplay. My next mannequin lives in the attic, and she is called Marie Antoinette because she has no head. And this is like a proper mannequin from a shop. I bought this mannequin second hand, and it was again something like £20 in a marketplace. It was very cheap. And as you can see, this is a full body mannequin but without a head. You can get them with heads as well, but you usually don't need them in most cases because you can just buy Styrofoam heads, which are more handy to pin wigs and stuff like that. In any case, similar to the other half mannequin I own, the problem with this one is that because this one is completely made of plastic, I cannot pin it. It is great because it's a full body mannequin, so it serves its display purposes. If I want to just show the cosplay I am making, or if I want to see the progress of it, it's great because, as I said, you have the arms and you have the legs, so it's quite handy to see the full dress, how it's gonna look. However, if I were to measure this mannequin, which is supposed to be my size, you will notice that it is again made to trick the eyes, so the proportions are not correct. She's way too tall, her waist is way too small, and her arms, even compared to mine, which are relatively thin because I'm a small person, are just skeletic. Like, honestly, this is the kind of mannequin that will make you think you are fat and feel terrible about yourself, but do not worry, that's not true. This is not anatomically correct. It's just made so it looks like all the clothes are gonna fit her well, but the truth is that nobody has this shape, which makes her basically useless if you are just trying to use your mannequin to just create some kind of garment that will fit you. It will never fit you if you use one of them. Also, I find she is very heavy and very clunky. It's super difficult to take off the arms, the legs, and She is honestly a nightmare, no wonder they cut her head, and I only use her for display purposes, or if I have to go to a convention and they ask me to bring a mannequin with me to display my cosplays or something like that. But other than that, she just is very good to just hang things on top. I actually did forget to mention it, but if you are actually making armor, the fact that this is made out of hard plastic could be an advantage for you, and for things like shaping foam so they look like your body shape and stuff, this is actually a good option, so do not discard her if this is the kind of cosplay you are trying to make. But let's move on to the next type of mannequin. My next mannequin is actually a very popular choice among cosplayers because this one is an adjustable dress form, and what it means is that I can use these little wheels here at the front and just make it go bigger or smaller, so it can go up several sizes, up or down, like usually size 12 to 14 in the UK, which is like 10 to 12 in the USA for this one, for example. So it has like 2 to 4 sizes difference between the widest point to the narrowest point, and it is handy in the sense that you can input your actual body measurements. So if you have, let's say, a very big chest and a small waist, you could be just making this bigger or smaller and make it so it is exactly like your own body shape. And that's in general quite good. However, this model in particular, this is a very old model. Again, this is a gift. I was gifted this by someone that was not using it, and it's a very old model. Again, you can just see those boobies there, which are very weird. So the thing is that the problem is again that even if some of these have padding on them, the padding doesn't go all the way through. This one doesn't have any padding at all, so it's plastic completely from the inside, so there's only this layer of fabric, so it's almost impossible to pin on it. You can only pin on the fabric. It's a nightmare if you're trying to do some draping, or even if you're just trying to leave some pieces of fabric in there while you are trying to figure out if it's fitting or not. And I know for a fact that newer versions will have a little bit of padding, but it will eventually, they are not very deep, so what will happen is that you will be hitting the hard plastic at some point, so it is not ideal. So if you get one of these, just make sure at least that it has a thick padding on the outside and you can pin it, otherwise you may struggle with it. The other issue with this mannequin is that this very handy thing that makes you be able to just make it wider or smaller, it's also a problem on itself, because if I'm trying to put some fabric on top of this, it's gonna be gaping in the middle, so it's not gonna give you a very accurate look of what is going to look in the end, because you have all these gaps on the sides and the middle that if you're using, for example, something like stretch fabric, they are just gonna go inwards a little bit, so it will look a little bit weird. It can mess a little bit with the actual proportions and things, so it's a little bit difficult to use for cosplay. It is, however, a great idea if you are someone that makes commissions for people and you don't have their measurements. You don't need to have a mannequin for each measurement. You can always like change the measurements on your adjustable mannequin, and you can see if that garment is going to fit for someone, maybe another cosplayer that needs a cosplay, and you're helping them with that, and you can't see them and test the garment in person. So in that sense, this is going to be very useful if you're doing commissions and you are doing cosplays for other people. Maybe if you're someone that has weight fluctuations through the year, this could also be a good idea, because you can just change those measurements as you need, and you can just like always have a mannequin that's going to fit you. And as I said, other than that, if you are someone that pretty much stays the same size throughout the years, I would not recommend this one first, but it is not a bad choice either. This type of mannequin you can buy from about 50-60 pounds to about 100 to 100 pounds. It just depends on what you're looking for and where you're buying it from, but it is relatively affordable if you know where to look. And there are many companies that are making this type of dress form. You will possibly be able to find it in your country, so definitely check it if this is the kind of mannequin you are looking for. And now I'm going to move on to the mannequin that I've been using for the last few weeks. It's the new one and the one I wanted to show you. If you are on my social media, you will have seen it already, and I've had a lot of people asking me about this mannequin. Let's show you the one I am currently using. This is my current mannequin, and this is a professional dress form. They are called professional dress forms because they are designed for professionals, for people who are doing garments all day, every day. And precisely because it's a professional dress form, this is perhaps the most expensive mannequin of the whole collection I own. I bought this mannequin with my own money after saving for a long time. I've been checking companies and checking around for a mannequin which was relatively affordable, but it was meant for what I am doing every day. I will remind you again that I do cosplays every day and I sell patterns, and basically this is my everyday life, this is my job. Therefore, I needed something that is going to be durable, that is going to work for what I need to do, something that I can pin completely, something that I can just use heat on. It is honestly like the Ferrari of mannequins. I bought mine in particular with some extras, so I have a head, an extra head, I have arms, and if you notice over here, I was mentioning before, this is shaped so I can actually use trousers on it, and I can just make anything that looks like a real garment to it. The difference between these mannequins and the ones I have shown you before is that this mannequin is anatomically correct, which means they've gone through the trouble of measuring a lot of people and just doing an average for sizes, so it will have the correct shape on the bust. You will see here there's no pointy boobs anymore, and it will have the correct shape for the actual tummy, and the waist is also the right measurements. I'm very lucky because this one in particular has my exact measurements, so I know when I am testing something on this mannequin, it's gonna be correct for myself to a degree. And basically I don't have to be worrying about it being too big or too small, or having the wrong distance between the waist and the shoulders or something like that. It is designed to be pretty much like a real body. And if I turn it around, you will notice that this is anatomically correct to the point of just having a lovely body over there as well. It has all the curves being correct over there, and it is very handy. You can, as you see, remove one of the arms very easily. It's just attached with pins, so it's very easy to just remove the head, remove the arms, move it around. It has wheels. It's basically great and amazing, and you will be saying, Alice, why didn't you say buy this mannequin and just forget about everything else? And there's a very good reason why I didn't recommend you this mannequin first thing and just forgot about everything else. And the reason is that this mannequin here cost me £800. And this is not even the most expensive mannequin that you can buy. You can get something for £1,000 or even more if you are just getting all the attachments. You can buy a professional mannequin from about £400 to £500, and let's be honest, that is very expensive. I will say this once more, I do cosplay every day. Cosplay is my job, and the only way I was able to afford this mannequin is calling it a business expense. If you have money for it and this is your favorite hobby in the world and it's something that you do all the time and you see yourself doing for years and years, this mannequin is possibly the one you are looking for, a proper professional dress form. However, if you are just making cosplay for yourself, or if you are just starting, or it's something that you are trying and figuring out, you don't need this. I saw a lot of people asking me about this dress form, where I bought it, they wanted to get it, and most of the time it was people that just had started cosplaying, and I don't think you need it. As I said, all the other options I have used in the past, I've been using this other mannequin that cost me £20. Even professionally, I've been using this one for almost 10 years now, and it has been fine. He is okay. I just wanted to do something different. I wanted to experiment, and this one was limiting my creativity because there were things that I could not do. I could not pin it. I couldn't do a few things that I wanted to do. It wasn't a full mannequin. And basically the only difference between this one is the time. This mannequin is giving me time that I had to spend on trying to figure out the problems I had with this one. So in reality, when you are choosing which mannequin or which tool you need for cosplay, what you are really weighing here is the time it's going to cost you to get something to a standard with one or with the other. So this will save me time, but it doesn't mean by any means that this is a bad mannequin. It will work. So just keep that in mind when you are choosing. And I have one more mannequin to show you before I finish this video. And the last mannequin I have to show you is this. You don't need a mannequin. This is, as I said, a tool that is going to help you achieve your cosplays and maybe just save you some time. But at the end of the day, you do want to try all your costumes on your own body, because it doesn't matter how well made a mannequin is, or how cheap or how expensive or how many nice characteristics it has, you will always have to try those dresses on your own body, because everybody is different. If you are wearing a different bra, it's going to make a different effect. Maybe you are just wearing some shapewear garments, it's going to make a different effect. And you want to make sure your costumes fit you. So it doesn't matter how much you spend or not on a mannequin, because if you don't try it on yourself, you are not going to know if that cosplay works or not for you. So don't forget that you are also an option. You don't have to spend a single penny, and you can just try each garment and each piece one by one on your own body and adjust it to your own body, because that's something that everybody does. If you are just starting in cosplay, don't worry so much about what mannequin to get, and just start creating and start crafting, and just make sure you are having fun, because if you really like it, you will have time to investigate and just try things and figure out, maybe buy a cheap mannequin and then just get a more expensive one in the line. Just make sure you experiment and just try whichever works best for you, because that is the right answer. Thank you very much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that I helped you a little bit decide on which mannequin or not you have to buy for your costumes. And remember, I will be back with more tutorials on how to create cosplays. You can actually download lots of patterns that I have made in the past for my own costumes. And if you want to be the first one to be notified about any of my new videos, don't forget to click the like, comment with whichever cosplays you would like me to make next, and also click the subscribe button, because that's the easiest way to get notified whenever I just launch a new video in which I will be helping you make your own cosplays. If you want to be the first one to be the first one to see my next cosplays, make sure to join me on Patreon as well. It starts at £1 where you can see all my work in progress pictures, and I will be seeing you in the next adventure. Bye! I bought this second hand. It was only £20 when I bought it. Sorry, I won't touch there anymore. Hehehehe.